Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, Batman and Robin, Mr. Freeze. This is Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin, arguably the worst Batman film ever, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is the Build-A-Figure. If you get all four of these figures, collect to build Mr. Freeze, you have to get Batgirl, Poison Ivy, Robin, and Batman. I found these figures at GameStop today, so let's take a quick look. As you can see, we've got Batgirl here, Mr. Freeze pieces, DC Multiverse, Batgirl, collectible Mr. Freeze. This is the first of four figures you need. On the back, here's the piece of Mr. Freeze with Batgirl. Here's instructions how to build them. Here's the rest of the wave. All the figures have pretty much the same packaging. Here's the front of all the boxes. And here's the back of all the boxes. Like I said, pretty much all the same. So with no further ado, let's open them up. Alright, now that these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. We have all the different Mr. Freeze Build-A-Figure pieces. We have Batgirl with his head, Poison Ivy with his torso, Robin with his arms, and then Batman with his legs. In this video, we're going to put Mr. Freeze together. We'll check out his accessories, height, and articulation. We'll compare him with a bunch of other Mr. Freeze figures, a bunch of other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures, and a bunch of action figures from different various companies. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's start off by checking figure number 1, Batgirl. So here's figure number 1 in this assortment. This is the Alicia Silverstone Batgirl. She comes with Mr. Freeze's head, his freeze ray, a blast effect, and then his shoulder pads. And here's figure number 2. This is a Uma Thurman Poison Ivy. She comes with Mr. Freeze's torso. Put the head, shoulders, and torso together, and he's already starting to take shape. Here's figure number 3. This is the Chris O'Donnell Robin. He comes with Mr. Freeze's arms. And here's Mr. Freeze with the arms attached. Looks good, a little stubby. And finally, here's the 4th figure. This is the George Clooney Batman from Batman and Robin. He comes with Mr. Freeze's legs. Now I find it kind of interesting they made Batman the 4th figure in the wave. You'd think Batman would always be the first one. So there you have it. Mr. Freeze, fully assembled from Batman and Robin. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Finally, everybody can chill. So let's take a look at him. Start with his face. The face is probably the best part. The likeness is just great to Arnold Schwarzenegger. It looks fantastic. Just look at that. And that's even with sort of a weak paint job. It could look a lot better, but the eyes, the forehead, the nose, just the chin, just all is just well done and looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger from that era. Very nice. Then we have his helmet, sort of blue, transparent plastic. It's got these metal pieces going to the top. Now, he had a few different looks in the film, and I hope they at least give us one more. The shoulder pads, the armor, I'll tell you, the sculpt is pretty good, but the paint job is just weak. It looks very toyetic, very plasticky. The gray, it just needs to be sort of silver and metallic, sort of armor, sort of shiny. It just looks like plastic and not like a metal armored suit. These things, if they looked the same as this part on top of his head, they would look pretty freaking good, but as it is, they just look so basic and dull. He's got a lot of different parts all over here, but the paint job is literally 2 colors, this light gray and then blue. There's no variation, there's no wash, no nothing. This guy could look a lot better. He looks good, I'm happy to have him, but I've seen some custom paint jobs in this guy to really put him over the top. The way he is right now looks a little bit sort of cheap. But also keep in mind, these are $20 figures. They are kind of cheap down a mass assembly line. You're not going to expect some sort of Mafex or Mezco or Hot Toys type quality. $20 figures. That being said, I'd say it's pretty freaking nice. I just wish they had chose a different paint besides the gray. Some sort of metallic silver would have been awesome for this guy. So it looks like single jointed elbows. I think double jointed knees. Overall, looks pretty good. Has accessories, the freeze ray, as well as different ice effects for your figures. So I'd say it's a home run. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Very pleased and impressed with how spot on it looks like Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then we have his freeze ray. Please, I came with the freeze ray. As we know, Warner Brothers has this no gun mandate. Any officially licensed DC figure cannot come with guns in any way, shape, or form. Looks like they're loosening up, at least with the more sci-fi type guns. So we have the handle down here, another sort of supporting handle here. You can see the front has a hole. We're going to attach the freeze blast effect. It has the exact same problem with the suit, done in a very sort of plasticky, basic paint job. Metallic silver would really make this look better. And then we have this sort of freeze blast that will attach to the end there. As you can see, the freeze blast pegs right in, no problem. Here's Mr. Freeze holding his freeze ray with the blast effect attached. He can hold it with one hand or with two. In addition to that, there are these different sort of freeze effects. The two larger ones on the left came with Robin, two smaller ones on the right with Batman. You can attach these to the figure as if Mr. Freeze is actually freezing their limbs. That is such a cool effect. Here's an example of Batman and Robin with those freeze effects. Awesome accessories. And I was curious if those freeze effects were interchangeable, and they sure are. The bat ears make it so you can't push all the way back, but it works. Looks good on either figure. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the figure, his accessories, and his assembly, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right about 7.4, 7.5 inches tall, which can translate to just under 19 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, you can rotate from side to side, look up, really not at all, down, good amount. You can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders, a ball joint, goes out just a tiny bit more than 90 degrees, up, down, around. He's got the butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion and covering the large gap that would be there. No bicep cut. Single jointed elbow, goes in about 90 degrees. It has rotation to offset the bicep cut. His wrist can rotate, and it is hinged. His torso, he's got a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion for a big bulky armored guy. You get a little more of the torso than the waist on him. Legs, completely does the splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is non-existent. They go forward about that much, back not much. Single jointed knee with rotation, and then his ankle. Forward and back. It's very tight on mine. Tilt rock, and of course, toe articulation. Elsewhere in Gotham, here's a look at Mr. Freeze's base. A little bit different than the movie, but a cold layer nonetheless. Inside his base, Mr. Freeze looks at his wife. He longs for the day for her to get cured. I believe it's McGregor syndrome. He has her frozen until he can find a cure. A closer look at Mr. Freeze in his base, holding his freeze ray. Here's a look at Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. They're intruding in Mr. Freeze's territory. Mr. Freeze shoots his ice blasts on each of the heroes. Will he be able to stop them? Now let's check them out. Next is some other action figures, starting off with some other Mr. Freeze figures. Here's this Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze, next to the McFarlane DC Multiverse Rebirth Mr. Freeze. Rumor is they're going to be doing another one in Blacklight Edition. And here he is, next to McFarlane's Page Puncher Mr. Freeze, both regular and the line art sketch version. So here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Mr. Freeze figures. They went from 0 to 5 in about 6 months. Nice job, McFarlane. And there are more on the way. McFarlane also made a Mr. Freeze in their 6-inch scale 1966 line. 2 live-action Mr. Freeze figures right in front of you from the same company, although the scale is quite different. McFarlane also recently released a Batman the Animated Series Mr. Freeze. So that gives us a total of 7 Mr. Freeze figures that McFarlane has made. Pretty cool collection. Like I said, rumor is we're going to be getting a Rebirth 1 Blacklight Edition. I hope they give us another version of Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin. He had at least 2 or 3 distinct looks. Here he is, next to a DST, Diamond Select Toys, Gotham TV show Mr. Freeze. And here he is, with all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Mr. Freeze figures. Next, here he is, with the Mezco Mr. Freeze figure. Then, next to all my different Mattel Mr. Freeze figures. And now, next to a Fisher-Price Mr. Freeze. Here are all of my Mr. Freeze action figures. I believe I have all of them in the 6 and 7-inch scale. The only one that comes to mind that I'm missing is some sort of San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Mattel DC Universe Classics Mr. Freeze. Here's Mr. Freeze, next to 4 different older Kenner Batman and Robin Frostbite figures. Frostbite was basically a Mr. Freeze henchman from Batman and Robin. I would love to get a 7-inch scale version. Now let's check him out. Next to some other Arnold Schwarzenegger figures. Here he is. Next to some NECA Terminator 1 figures. And here he is. Next to some NECA Terminator 2 figures. Then, with some NECA Terminator Genesis Arnold figures. And now, with the NECA Terminator Dark Fate Arnold figure. Here's this Mr. Freeze, next to a couple of Mafex Terminator Arnold figures. And here he is, next to a bunch of NECA Predator Dutch figures. Then, with a NECA Arnold Commando figure. And now, next to a custom I made, this is a wrestling figure with an older Arnold Schwarzenegger head. This is supposed to be him as a governor. Here are all of my Arnold Schwarzenegger action figures. We have a lot from Terminator, Predator, Commando, Batman and Robin. They're by NECA, Mafex, and McFarlane. Pretty nice collection. Now let's check them out. Next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the rest of the Batman and Robin wave. We have Robin, Batman, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and Batgirl. Now, the most noticeable omission is Bane. Yes, Bane sucked in that movie, but we need a Bane figure from this film. I hope McFarlane gives us an additional Bane figure in the future. I would love a whole nother wave of figures here. Robin has another costume. Batman has another costume. Poison Ivy and Freeze have at least another look. And I think Batgirl might have even had a different costume for the end. She definitely at least had one with a full cowl helmet for her Batgirl cycle. No matter what, this wave is fantastic, but we really need Bane to complete all the characters from the film. And here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Mr. Freeze figures. Then, next to McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Deadly Duo Joker. And now, with a couple of recent Target exclusive figures, we have Midnighter and Wave Rider. Here's Mr. Freeze. Next is a recent Amazon exclusive glow-in-the-dark variations of Jon Stewart Green Lantern, Swamp Thing, Titan Joker, and the Infected Batman. And here he is. Next to some more Target exclusive figures, we have the Flashpoint Wave, Collectible Cyborg. Looking at Mr. Freeze and Cyborg both, their bodies are very similar. Big, large, armored, mechanical type suits. You could probably take this Mr. Freeze and customize it into a proper scaled cyborg figure. Then, next to some recent Entertainment Earth exclusive figures, we have some Blacklight figures on the left, and some line art sketch figures on the right. And now, next to the McFarlane Collector's Edition Wave 2, both the regular and the Platinum Chase variants of Firestorm, Hawkman, and Sinestro. Here's Mr. Freeze, next to the Injustice 2, Superman, and Brainiac. And here he is, next to the Last Night on Earth, Batman vs. Omega 2-pack. Then, next to the Dark Knights of Steel Batman, and both versions of the Jim Gordon Batman. And now, next to the Batman Beyond vs. Justice Lord Superman 2-pack. Here's Mr. Freeze, next to both versions of the Santa Batman. And here he is, next to the black and white accent, Big Bad Toy Store exclusive Joker and Martian Manhunter. Then, next to some more recent McFarlane Toy Store exclusive figures, we have the Patina variant of Superboy Prime and Merciless, Interrogation Room Joker, and Catman. And finally, here he is, next to the Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom movie wave. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know what signs you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, next to some Jakks Pacific and DST or Diamond Select toys, here's Mr. Freeze, next to a pile of ice cubes. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and some NECA figures. Then, next to both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, next to some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Then, next to some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, this is a really cool Mr. Freeze figure. This is the Mr. Freeze figure that I didn't know I wanted, but boy am I glad that I have it. Now the likeness is spot on. Looks great, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger from the movie. It's a really good figure, but the paint job is just very bland. I can see a lot of people customizing this guy, making him look phenomenal. His articulation is a little bit limited, but that's okay. In the movie, he moved like RoboCop, very stiff, very stale. His accessories, I'm not sure what are his accessories, what are Batman and Robin's accessories, but he has the freeze ray, he has the blast effect, and he has all those ice effects attached to figures, which are really, really cool. Sculpt, excellent. Paint job, very weak. If I were to rate this guy, I'm enjoying him a lot, even with the kind of weak paint job and limited articulation. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Really enjoying this figure. Really happy to check the Batman and Robin Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze off my list. Love the Poison Ivy. Hope they give us a Bane. I really hope they continue with these movie waves. I hope this does very well and they do Batman Forever, Batman Returns, Batman 1989, and then move on to the Dark Knight trilogy, then Batman vs Superman, and just give us all the possible movie characters you can in 7-inch scale. And don't forget the 1966 stuff as well. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.